Former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines is going to sue and demand consequences for activists who assaulted her at San Francisco State University, where she discussed the impact of men playing in women's sports. Good for her, and it should start a trend. Whether as any judge appointed by Donald Trump, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, commentators like Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro, or an NCAA swimmer who had her title stolen by a man, disrupting conservative and Republican-aligned speakers on college campuses has become as commonplace as happy hour at the local dive. Unlike in decades past, this is not a limited phenomenon, folks. It's not a matter of angst-riddled teens and young adults just being rebels without a clue. It is a coordinated and celebrated tactic of the radical left to stifle speech on campuses, now assented to, dismissed, and even encouraged by college administrators. The flower children who likely never left campus are running these schools today and bringing their romantic notions of 1960s and 70s counterculture with them. And you are paying for them to transform your children. And the results have been devastating to American higher education as well. Academics and college administrators have become a de facto protected class in America, and that hands-off approach has led to a culture of intimidation, censorship, and violence. And here's the kicker. Conservatives, right-of-center activists, and influential donors have allowed all of this to happen by not using the levers of the law and appropriate political and financial pressure to stop it. To be sure, if individuals who were disrupting these events were conservatives, there would be a line of liberal groups and funders stepping up to sue these institutions and demanding action. There would be protests for days and professionally made signs, interviews on television galore, and even perhaps commercials. Students and influencers on the right have just put up with it all for far too long, and it's time for it to end. Our institutions of higher learning have been co-opted by teachers' unions, tenure that all but eliminates accountability, and more than $1 billion from communist China in the last decade, and corporate funding that serves commercial purposes rather than academic discourse. Large percentages of ideologically conservative and moderate students and faculty are now self-censoring out of fear, according to surveys. That culture of repression of speech on America's campuses created by the left is even backfiring on the very people who hijack the system to drive their agenda. According to a 2023 report from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, even some 40% of liberal faculty members also feel intimidated. The result of all of this, folks, is an environment that is authoritarian in nature, where there is open hostility to ideas. Those ideas and the discussion that they engender are the bedrock foundation of our country and the now broken university system. Many of these schools are taxpayer funded. Others have endowments in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. They need to feel the financial and legal pain of their discrimination. Conservatives cannot be afraid to sue civilly or press charges against schools and individuals who discriminate against them, assault them, or cancel them. State governments have tools at their disposal to restore American higher education, including accreditation, tax dollars, and regulations over corporate or foreign donations. States must take action to ensure that any college or university that is accredited within their borders is held to intellectual diversity standards and doesn't discriminate in grading, hiring, events, curricula, or based on political or religious beliefs. They need to effect a credible, non-biased internal review process for teachers who are accused of discriminating against students' beliefs. There must be new laws that protect students and faculty alike, and requirements that schools take affirmative steps to maintain an environment that is respectful of dialogue. Accredited universities, especially those who receive tax money, must be mandated to have standards of conduct for students to allow for differing points of view and penalties for behavior that is excessively disruptive or violent. Bullying conservative or religious students should not be tolerated, and physical assault against students or guest speakers should result in expulsion and prosecution. States should also immediately restrict schools from taking any money from communist China or businesses linked to communist China. Conservative donors need to close their wallets when their school goes woke or openly discriminates based on political or religious beliefs. It's increasingly clear, folks, that school administrators today don't understand America or are willing to blindly cast aside their responsibility to foster dialogue for the sake of an agenda that is ultimately self-destructive. For all of their supposed education, many are just weak-minded spirits who believe words are weapons and hate speech is just anything that doesn't fit their worldview. It's time to make them pay. It's time to stand up to the bullies in the schoolyard. Up next, keeping your personal information private from big tech and government agencies. It's a tall order, but we'll give you some tips to protect yourself and your loved ones from spying. Stay with us.
It's the woke movement. Our country is bad. Our values are evil. Our history is deplorable. They want to destroy traditional America. Find out who's behind this movement in Woke America on Newsmax.
My name is Lauren. I'm 35 weeks pregnant. I'm taking Balance of Nature every day. I heard about Balance of Nature from my dad, who's a doctor. I was immediately in on it. I've had a really healthy pregnancy and I